Welcome back, Hik. Over the past month, are there any standout winners across the ASX as a result of the COVID-19? And what are the reasons for this? What have your managers done to capture any of these opportunities?
Hi Mirella, it's good to be with SEQ again. Look, there have been some stocks that have certainly outperformed since this crisis began. I just have to say that I'm providing information, not advice. So all the SEQ clients need to speak to their advisor before acting on anything I talk about today, for sure. In terms of our portfolio, standout has been A2 Milk. Since the ASX itself peaked on the 20th of February, A2 Milk has actually risen another 20%. And that's in the context of the broad market having been down 25% over the same time period. So if you look at it from a comparison between A2 Milk's share price and the market, A2 Milk has outperformed by 45%, which is really quite phenomenal. Why has it done that? It had a really strong backdrop to start with in terms of a really strong history of growing sales into Asia in a lot of their milk products, in particular infant formula. But certainly it's benefited from the COVID-19 pandemic and the panic buying of a lot of their products. So they're at a time when their import costs were going down and also the dollar was supportive, the weaker Aussie dollar, they've just been selling more product. So that's one of the reasons why they've actually benefited from this crisis. We actually right now are starting to take some profits in A2 Milk because it is looking quite fully valued. Another stock that's done quite well is Elders, so the agricultural company. And that's because there's a thematic running of a recovery from very strict drought conditions in southern and eastern Australia. And again, it was in place pre-COVID-19 and it hasn't really been derailed by COVID-19. So Elders itself is up 8% in the period I'm talking about, which again is 33% better than the market return. So whilst most stocks are down over the period we're talking about, there are a number of stocks which conversely have performed quite well. And of course, across our portfolios, we're hopeful of having those type of stocks in it. But we do run diversified portfolios. So of course, the overall portfolios have been affected by the crisis, of course.
Thanks, Hik, for your insights. It's good to hear some positive news over this period. My next question is, are there any takeaways from the last week? And what can we expect now that things are easing?
The biggest and the most important piece of news on the Aussie market has been the National Australia Bank results, which was announced the other day. That saw a quite significant drop in profits and a 64% cut to the dividend and a very large capital raising of about $3.5 billion. So the banks there is looking to strengthen its balance sheet to cope with the economic impact of the COVID-19 crisis. And shareholders are obviously having to bear the brunt of that in terms of a significantly reduced dividend. ANZ and Westpac will also be announcing results in the next couple of days, so that's a key focus for the market. But that trend of capital raising is not just the banks, so many stocks are raising capital at the moment to shore up balance sheets and get them through the economic hit from the COVID-19 crisis. So that would be what I'd say has been the key focus of the market over the last week. Now that things are easing, what we're looking at as investors is how the easing will take place in terms of the lockdown, and therefore which stocks may bounce back quickest, because we're not going to get a going back to normal situation anytime soon. So the lockdown will be eased quite carefully and slowly. So we're just looking at it on a stock by stock basis at the moment. And the other thing to bear in mind, as I have stressed in previous chats we've had, is that the market has run quite strongly since the lows of March 23rd. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we do see continued volatility, at least for the next couple of months.
Thanks again, Hik, for those insights. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.
No problem, Mirella. Talk to you soon too.